So in terms of Pixar's movies that are coming up, we're getting Elio and we're getting Hoppers. Now I'm very happy to see that we are getting um, these original movies, and on top of that, we're also going to get a mix of sequels as well. So I feel like this decade is really in many ways a kind of mix of like sequels and originals. Whereas like, I know like last decade we had mainly sequels and we had a lot of Disney originals. And then before that we had the Pixar Golden Age and we had some Disney movies that weren't doing too well. But I feel like now in this decade we're getting a lot of original Disney and lots of sequels, but we're also getting a mix of like sequels from Pixar, but also originals. I feel like we haven't done that yet because I feel like we had the Pixar Golden Age, we had the sequel decade, and then now we have like a mix of originals and sequels. So I feel like it's a good time to really experience Pixar. And I'm not skeptical about it. I think Elio looks really good. I think it kind of looks like a kind of a reverse ET, where now you have a child who is going into space and he's being mistaken as an ambassador. Although I don't know if they drop that plot line because I think there were some changes to the film, so I'm not sure if that's going to be the plot now. Well, I think it is because I think he's still the ambassador of Earth because some of the original content from the trailer, from the teaser trailer, um is still in the in that new scene or in that new trailer that they came out with. So I think it's a very exciting premise. It's certainly more exciting than Elemental. I didn't think Elemental was particularly riveting. I didn't think it was very original. Like, yeah, it had an original characters, but it didn't really have an original story. And I feel like Elio is going to have that. Elio has this original story, and Hoppers too. I was not bought by the name. I'm sure, like a lot of people, you probably thought you were thinking about Hopper from Bug's Life, but Hoppers has an interesting premise. It's a body swap film, but at the very least, they're making it a robot where the brain of this girl is transferred, or at least her brain information is transferred into a mechanical beaver. And so at least it's not like some magic that made them, that made the girl, into a beaver. It's more like with the aid of technology. So I feel like that's a really interesting premise right there. And it does have a bit of a, what do you call it? There's like a kind of an environmentalist message about some villain who is trying to destroy some property. And, that cliche we've seen a lot. We've seen that in Tarzan, we've seen that in Pocahontas, although not to the same extent, but we saw that in Avatar, maybe even in the second one. I haven't watched the second one yet. We've seen that in Fern Gully. Fern Gully is that animated movie that features Robin Williams. It's not Disney, but it has this villain that's kind of like a personified pollution, trying to destroy the environment. I feel like we've seen that a lot, but the story still looks interesting, and I'm excited to watch it. And then on top of that, we're getting Toy Story 5 and Incredibles 3. So we're having a mix of really good sequels and we're having a mix of some really good originals. Not all the originals in the past few years were good, but many of them were. And I'm hoping that Hoppers, I was going to call it Beavers, but Hoppers and Elio look and sound pretty good. So I'm excited about it. And I want to know what everybody else thinks. So this has been my podcast video. It's my first podcast video, so just talking about Pixar's originals and I think that it's on a good footing. But we'll see from Elio. We'll never really know what Hoppers is going to be like until we see it. So, but let me know what you think. And this has been my podcast video. So, thanks for watching.